I'm going to share something with you that may shock you. Every single day, whether you know it or not, you are using a powerful mental law. This law doesn't care if you believe in it. It doesn't care if you understand it. It doesn't care about your background, your education, or your current circumstances. It operates with the same precision as the law of gravity. If you drop something, it falls. Every time, no exceptions. And this mental law of increase works with the same reliability, the same mathematical precision, the same absolute consistency, mathematical precision, the same absolute consistency. But here's what most people never realize, and this is the shocking part. This mental law of increase is completely reversible. You can use it to multiply your wealth, or you can unknowingly use it to multiply your poverty. It's the same law, operating with the same power, but it can work in two completely opposite directions. And I've watched, for over 40 years of teaching these principles, as good people, honest people, hardworking people, accidentally run this law in the wrong direction every single day. They wake up, they go to work, they try their best, and yet nothing seems to change. The bank account stays the same, the bills keep coming, the worry persists, and they wonder, what am I doing wrong? Why doesn't anything ever change for me? Tonight, you're going to learn the one daily practice that flips this law in your favor, a practice that takes less than 10 minutes, but that has the power to completely transform your financial reality. And I promise you, once you understand this law, once you see how it's been operating in your life all along, you'll never see money the same way again. You'll never look at your circumstances the same way. You'll realize that you have far more power than you ever imagined. Now, I know why you're here tonight. I know what brought you to this teaching. You're tired of the constant worry about money. You're exhausted from working hard but never seeming to get ahead. You wake up in the middle of the night thinking about bills. You avoid looking at your bank account because you already know what you'll see there. You've tried budgeting, you've tried working harder, you've tried saving more. Maybe you've even tried affirmations or positive thinking, reading books about wealth, listening to success programs, but something's still missing. The results just aren't there. You look at your bank account and feel that familiar knot in your stomach, that tightness in your chest, that feeling of why does this keep happening to me? You see other people succeeding and you wonder what they have that you don't. You wonder if you're doing something fundamentally wrong, or if maybe, just maybe, abundance just isn't meant for people like you. Maybe you think you're not smart enough, not connected enough, not lucky enough. Maybe you've started to believe that some people are just destined to struggle with money and you're one of them. Let me tell you something. You're not broken. You're not being punished. You're not unworthy of wealth. What's happening is actually very simple. You've been unconsciously obeying a mental law, but you've been applying it in the wrong direction. It's like trying to drive forward while the car is in reverse. No amount of pressing the gas pedal harder will move you forward if you're in the wrong gear. Right now, most people wake up every day and unconsciously practice the law of increase in reverse. They look at their bills and think about what they lack. They see prices rising and rehearse limitation. They check their bank account and feel anxiety. And every single one of these mental acts is impressing upon the subconscious mind, give me more of this feeling of not enough. And the subconscious mind, which is completely faithful, says yes and proceeds to create more experiences that match that feeling. But imagine just for a moment what your life would look like if you were consciously practicing the law of increase in the right direction. Imagine waking up and, before your feet even hit the floor, you spend just 10 minutes impressing upon your subconscious mind the feeling of increase, expansion, abundance. Imagine doing this so consistently that it becomes your natural mental habit. What would happen to your finances? What opportunities would appear? What ideas would come to you? Now, I need to clear up something right away. This is not about manifesting money out of thin air. This is not magical thinking. This is not about ignoring practical action or responsible financial management. The mental law of increase is about changing your habitual mental atmosphere so that your subconscious mind, which controls about 90% of your behavior, begins working for your wealth instead of against it. When you do this correctly, you start to see opportunities you never noticed before. Ideas come to you. You make different decisions. The right people appear. This is scientific, this is psychological, and this is absolutely, completely reliable. What makes this teaching different from everything else you've tried? Most teachings about wealth focus on the outer world. Budgets, investments, strategies, those are important, but they're secondary. Some teachings focus on affirmations or positive thinking, but without understanding the deeper law, these often fail because you're not impressing the subconscious mind properly. What I'm going to teach you tonight is the law behind the techniques. Once you understand this law, and more importantly, once you learn the one daily practice that works with this law, everything else falls into place naturally. Here's what I want you to understand. Every day that you don't apply this law consciously, you're still obeying it unconsciously, but in reverse. The law doesn't take days off. It's not waiting for you to be ready. It's working right now, creating tomorrow's experiences based on today's habitual thoughts and feelings. But tonight, that can change. Tonight, you can learn how to become a deliberate creator instead of an accidental victim of your own mental habits. By the end of this teaching, you will understand exactly how the mental law of increase operates. You'll know why some people seem to multiply wealth effortlessly while others struggle despite working twice as hard. You'll learn the one daily practice that takes less than 10 minutes, but that will, over time, completely transform your relationship with money and abundance. And most importantly, you'll have a practice you can start tonight. Not someday when you feel more confident, not when your circumstances improve. Tonight, right after we finish talking. Now, let me show you how I first discovered this law in action, and more importantly, why it matters so much to your wealth. Let me tell you about two brothers I observed many years ago. This story changed my understanding of wealth forever, and I believe it will change yours too. These two brothers were raised in the same home, by the same parents, in the same neighborhood. They had identical opportunities growing up, same schools, same teachers, same exposure to the world. Both went to decent schools, both had access to the same resources, both started their adult lives at roughly the same time with similar circumstances. On paper, if you looked at their backgrounds, you would say these two men should have similar financial outcomes. They had the same starting point, the same foundation, the same advantages and disadvantages. But there was something very different about these two brothers, and it wasn't visible on the surface. It wasn't something you could see by looking at them. It was in how they thought about money and life. It was in their mental atmosphere, their habitual thought patterns, their emotional relationship with wealth. The first brother, let's call him John, constantly talked about how expensive everything was. Every conversation somehow turned to money troubles. He would say things like, "Everything costs so much these days. I don't know how anyone makes it. It's so hard to make money in this economy. People like us, we never get ahead, that's just how it is. The rich keep getting richer while we're stuck here struggling. The system is rigged against the little guy. You have to have money to make money, and we don't have any." Now, John wasn't a complainer by nature. He wasn't trying to be negative. He genuinely believed these things were true. He thought he was just being realistic, being practical, seeing the world as it really was. But what he didn't understand was that every time he spoke these words, every time he rehearsed these thoughts, he was impressing upon his subconscious mind a very specific message. He was practicing the mental law of increase, but in the direction of lack and limitation. The second brother, Michael, had the exact same circumstances in the beginning, the exact same income, the exact same bills, the exact same economic environment, but he spoke differently about money. He would say things like, "I always find a way to make things work. Money has a way of coming to me when I need it. I'm always taken care of even when I can't see how. Opportunities are everywhere if I keep my eyes open and stay ready. There's always a solution, I just have to find it. Things have a way of working out for me." Now, when Michael said these things, they weren't necessarily true yet in his outer circumstances. His bank account wasn't overflowing. He didn't have money to spare, but he was creating a mental atmosphere. He was impressing upon his subconscious mind a feeling of trust, of sufficiency, of confidence. He was practicing the mental law of increase in the direction of abundance and expansion. I watched these two brothers over 20 years, and what happened was remarkable. Though it was completely predictable once you understand how the mental law of increase operates, John's prophecy fulfilled itself with perfect precision. He stayed in constant struggle for those entire 20 years. His income barely increased. He got small raises here and there, just enough to keep up with inflation, but never enough to feel like he was getting ahead. He was always worried about money, always feeling behind, always stressed about finances. I would see him and ask how things were going, and he would sigh and say, same old struggle, making ends meet, barely. I work hard, but I can never seem to catch a break. And the tragic thing was, he did work hard. Let me be very clear about that. He was not lazy. He was not irresponsible. He showed up to work every day, did his job well, tried to provide for his family. But no amount of hard work could overcome the mental equivalent of lack that he was impressing upon his subconscious mind every single day. Michael, on the other hand, experienced steady increase over those same 20 years. He got promotions that seemed to come naturally. People noticed his work and recommended him for better positions. He had ideas for side income that just came to him. He would wake up with a thought about something he could do to earn extra money, and he would follow through on it. He made investments, small at first, but they tended to work out. He seemed to have good timing, good instincts. People offered him opportunities. Someone would mention a business idea or an investment opportunity, and Michael would be in the right place at the right time to take advantage of it. Within 20 years, his financial situation was completely transformed. He had savings, he had investments, he owned his home outright. He was able to help his children with their education. He traveled. He gave to charity. His income had multiplied many times over, not just kept pace with inflation. And the remarkable thing was, he didn't have some special skill his brother lacked. He wasn't more educated, more talented, or more intelligent. The only difference was in their mental atmosphere, in what they were consistently impressing upon their subconscious minds. Now, here's what fascinated me most about these two brothers. One day at a family gathering, John asked his brother a question that revealed everything. He said, "Michael, I need to understand something. We grew up in the same house. We had the same parents, the same start in life. Why is life so much easier for you? Why do you get all the lucky breaks? What's your secret? I work just as hard as you do, maybe harder, but I'm always struggling and you're thriving. What am I doing wrong?" And Michael, who had been attending my lectures and had come to understand these principles deeply, said something very simple but profound. He said, "Brother, I don't think you're doing anything wrong in terms of your effort or your character, but we're thinking different thoughts about the same circumstances. When you look at a bill, what do you think?" John paused and said, "Well, I think about how I can't afford it, how expensive it is, how hard it is to keep up." And Michael said, "When I look at a bill, I think about how money always comes to me to cover what I need, how I'm always provided for, how things work out." He continued, "When you see someone else succeeding, what do you feel?" John admitted, "I feel discouraged. I feel like it's not fair. I wonder why they get lucky and I don't." And Michael said, "When I see someone successful, I feel inspired. I think, if they can do it, I can do it too. I think abundance exists in the world, and that means it's available to me too. We're looking at the same world, brother, but we're seeing different things because we're looking through different mental filters." He said, "You're always rehearsing limitation. You talk about what you can't do, what you don't have, how hard everything is. And I hear myself doing the opposite. I talk about possibilities, about what I can do, about how things work out. We're both obeying the mental law of increase perfectly. You're just increasing your experience of lack and struggle. I'm increasing my experience of abundance and ease. We're both expert practitioners of the same law, just in opposite directions." John looked at his brother with tears in his eyes. He said, "You mean, all these years, it's been my own thinking that's kept me stuck?" Michael said gently, "Yes, brother. But the beautiful thing is, you can change your thinking starting right now. It's not too late. The same law that's been working against you can start working for you." Do you see what was happening with these two brothers? They were both using the same law, with the same precision, with the same power, but in opposite directions. And the law, being completely neutral, being completely impartial, gave each of them more of what they were impressing upon their subconscious minds. John was an expert at practicing mental decrease. He had been doing it so long it felt natural, it felt like reality, it felt like he was just being honest about his circumstances. Michael was an expert at practicing mental increase. He had trained his mind to look for possibilities, to expect good things, to trust in provision. Same law, different directions, completely different results. And here's what I want you to understand. You have the same choice these brothers had. Right now, in this moment, You can decide which direction you're going to practice this law. Are you going to continue practicing mental decrease like John did for 20 years? Or are you going to start practicing mental increase like Michael? The law will work either way with perfect faithfulness. Now, which brother are you? And more importantly, which brother do you want to be? Because I'm going to show you tonight that you have the power to choose. You're not stuck with the mental habits you've developed. You can change them, starting tonight. But you might be wondering, why does this happen? What's actually going on beneath the surface? Let me tell you about something I witnessed that will make this crystal clear. Years ago, a shopkeeper came to my lectures. He was desperate. He owned a small shop in what people considered a struggling neighborhood. He was a good man, honest, worked long hours, genuinely cared about his customers. But he was barely scraping by. Month after month, he couldn't seem to make enough to do more than just survive. One day I decided to visit his shop, and the moment I walked in I understood exactly what was happening. You see, I could feel the mental atmosphere of that place. Everything about it whispered lack. The way items were displayed seemed to say, "Please, someone buy something." The energy in the room felt heavy, almost desperate. And when I started talking to him, I understood why. His language was filled with limitation. He would say things like, "Times are hard around here. Nobody has money to spend. I can barely keep the doors open. The economy is terrible. People just don't buy like they used to." Every sentence was impressing upon his subconscious mind and upon the atmosphere of his shop, the mental equivalent of struggle and lack, and his subconscious mind, being completely faithful, was creating more experiences that matched that feeling. I gave him one simple instruction. I said, "Every morning before you open your shop, and every evening before you go home, I want you to sit quietly in your shop and repeat these words with feeling. Business is increasing. Prosperity flows to me and through me. I am a channel of infinite supply. Customers are drawn to this shop. Money comes to me easily and naturally." Now, he looked at me like I was crazy. He said, "But Dr. Murphy, that's not true. Business isn't increasing. Customers aren't being drawn here. I'm struggling." And I said to him, "That's exactly why you're struggling. You're impressing the opposite upon your subconscious mind every single day. Your mental atmosphere is one of lack, and so your subconscious mind creates more experiences of lack. You're using the mental law of increase perfectly, but in reverse." He was skeptical, but he was also desperate enough to try anything, so he started this simple practice. Every morning and every evening, he would sit in his shop, close his eyes, relax, and repeat these statements while trying to feel them as true. At first, it felt like he was lying to himself. But I told him, "You're not lying. You're redirecting your mental attention from what you don't want to multiply to what you do want to multiply." Within 3 months, everything changed. Not because the neighborhood changed, not because the economy improved, but because his mental atmosphere changed. New customers started walking in, people who had never been there before. They would say, "I don't know why, but I felt drawn to come into this shop today." A nearby business closed, and their customers needed somewhere to go, and somehow they found him. Ideas came to him about new products to carry, and those products sold well. He started noticing opportunities he had walked past 100 times before. 1 year later, he moved to a bigger location. He hired employees. His income had multiplied. And when he came to thank me, he said something I'll never forget. He said, "Dr. Murphy, you taught me that poverty was in my mind, not in my neighborhood. The neighborhood didn't change. I changed. And when I changed my mental atmosphere, everything else changed with it." This is the mental law of increase in action. The shopkeeper was always obeying this law. But before, he was increasing his experience of struggle and lack. After he learned the principle, he started increasing his experience of prosperity and abundance. Same law, different direction, completely different results. Now, this raises an important question. If this law is so powerful, why don't more people know about it? Let me share a story that breaks my heart, because it shows how good people can work so hard and still struggle, simply because they don't understand this mental law. A woman came to see me, and she was at the end of her rope. She was a nurse, and she worked double shifts. She sacrificed time with her children, sacrificed her health, sacrificed everything to provide for her family. And yet, despite all this hard work, they were still struggling financially. The bills kept piling up. There was never enough. She felt exhausted, depleted, and worst of all, she felt like she was failing her family despite giving everything she had. She broke down in my office and said, "Dr. Murphy, I don't understand. I'm doing everything right. I'm working harder than almost anyone I know. Why am I being punished? What am I doing wrong?" And I could hear in her voice not just exhaustion, but genuine confusion. She truly believed that hard work alone should equal financial success. And when it didn't, she thought something was wrong with her, or that life was unfair, or that she was being punished by God. I asked her a simple question. I said, "Tell me, when you're working those long shifts, when you're exhausted and doing everything you can to provide for your family, what are you thinking about? What thoughts fill your mind during those hours?" She paused, and then the truth came out. She said, "I think about my bills. I think about how expensive everything is. I worry about what will happen if I get sick and can't work. I think about how hard life is. I wonder if we'll ever get ahead, or if we're just going to struggle forever. Every spare moment, my mind is filled with financial worry and fear." And right there, I saw exactly what was happening. I said to her, "My dear, you're working very hard with your hands, but do you see what you're doing with your mind? Every moment of every shift, you're practicing the mental law of increase, but you're increasing your experience of hardship, worry, and lack. You're impressing upon your subconscious mind over and over, hour after hour, the feeling of not enough, the feeling of struggle, the feeling of fear, and your subconscious mind, which doesn't judge these thoughts, simply accepts them and creates more experiences that generate these same feelings." She looked stunned. She said, "You mean my thoughts are creating more of what I don't want?" I said, "Exactly. Your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what you want and what you don't want. It only knows what you're giving sustained attention to with feeling. And you've been giving sustained attention to lack, struggle, and fear. Now I want to be very clear here. This woman was not doing anything wrong morally. She was a good person, a loving mother, a dedicated worker, but she didn't understand the mental law of increase. She didn't understand that her habitual thoughts and feelings were programming her subconscious mind to create more of the same experiences. I gave her a simple practice. I said, "During your lunch break, or any break you get during your shift, I want you to stop for just 5 minutes. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and instead of rehearsing your financial worries, I want you to feel yourself already having everything you need. Feel financial ease, feel provided for, feel gratitude for money that's already coming to you. Feel the relief of having enough and more than enough. Just 5 minutes, but do it with real feeling. Impress upon your subconscious mind the opposite of what you've been impressing." At first, she found it difficult. Her mind wanted to go back to worry. That was her habit, her mental groove. But she kept practicing. And within 6 months, everything started to shift. She didn't get a huge raise immediately. She didn't win the lottery. But she started making different decisions. She found assistance programs she never knew existed. Someone told her about a better position at the hospital with less hours and better pay. She started having ideas about budgeting that made her money go further. Unexpected financial gifts came, small at first, but they came. 1 year later, she came back to see me, and she looked like a different person. The exhaustion was gone from her eyes. She was working one shift now, by choice. She had savings for the first time in her life. She had taken her kids on a vacation, and she said to me, "Dr. Murphy, this is the strangest thing. I'm making about the same money doing the same kind of work, but somehow everything is different. The money goes further. Opportunities appear. It's like the universe opened up." And I said to her, "The universe didn't open up. Your consciousness opened up. You stopped multiplying lack and started multiplying abundance. You changed what you were impressing upon your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind changed your experience to match. This is the lesson, my friend. Hard work without right thinking multiplies struggle. Right thinking transforms the results of your work. You can work yourself into exhaustion with the wrong mental habits and stay poor. Or you can work with the right mental habits and watch your efforts multiply into abundance. The work matters, but the mental atmosphere behind the work matters even more. Do you see what was happening in all three of these stories? These people were all obeying the same invisible law, the mental law of increase, but they were using it in opposite directions. They were all experts at impressing their subconscious minds. The only difference was what they were impressing: lack, or abundance, struggle or ease, limitation or expansion. But now you need to understand exactly how this law operates, and more importantly, how to use it deliberately in your life. Let me explain to you the deeper principles behind these stories. These are the mental laws that govern abundance, and once you understand them, you'll see exactly why the one daily practice I'm going to teach you works so powerfully. Your subconscious mind is a multiplying machine. That's its primary function regarding your thoughts and feelings. It takes whatever you habitually think about and feel, and it creates more of it in your experience. Now, this is not metaphysical mumbo-jumbo, and it's not wishful thinking or New Age nonsense. This is how your brain actually works. This is neuroscience. This is psychology. This is the actual mechanism by which your inner world creates your outer world. Your subconscious mind controls your perception of reality. It acts as a filter, determining what you notice and what you ignore. It controls your behavior, often in ways you're not consciously aware of. It controls your decisions, the gut feelings that guide you toward or away from opportunities. It controls what opportunities you even perceive as opportunities. Whatever you impress upon it through habitual feeling becomes your automatic operating system, the default program that runs your life when you're not paying conscious attention. Think of your subconscious mind like soil in a garden. This is one of my favorite analogies because it's so accurate and so easy to understand. The soil doesn't care what you plant in it. It doesn't have preferences, it doesn't judge, it doesn't say, oh, this is a beautiful tomato seed, I'll grow that with extra care. And this is poison ivy, that's ugly and harmful, so I'll reject that and refuse to grow it. No, the soil doesn't work that way. The soil multiplies whatever seed you give it with equal efficiency, equal faithfulness, equal power. It's completely neutral. It's completely impartial. It's completely non-judgmental. Whether you plant flowers or weeds, food or poison, the soil will grow it with the same dedication. Your conscious thoughts and feelings are the seeds. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every statement you make to yourself is a seed being planted in the soil of your subconscious mind. And the mental law of increase is simply this. The subconscious multiplies whatever you give it consistently, not occasionally, not once in a while, consistently. Whatever you plant repeatedly, habitually, day after day, that's what grows in your garden. Now, most people plant seeds of worry, anxiety, not enough. They wake up and immediately plant seeds of stress. They check their bank account and plant seeds of lack. They see a bill and plant seeds of can't afford. They see someone else succeeding and plant seeds of envy or discouragement. All day long, they're planting negative seeds without realizing it. And then they wonder why their garden produces worry and lack. They don't understand that they're the gardener. They think life is happening to them, when actually, life is happening from them, from their habitual mental patterns. Let me give you some specific examples of how this works in daily life, because I want you to really see this clearly. Imagine two people wake up in the morning. Both of them have the same amount of money in their bank account, let's say $500. Both have bills to pay. Both have financial responsibilities. Same circumstances. Person one wakes up, checks their bank account, and immediately thinks, only $500, that's not enough. I have so many bills coming up. I don't know how I'm going to make it. Why am I always broke? Why can't I ever get ahead? And they feel anxiety, fear, tightness in their chest. That feeling, that emotional charge, is being impressed upon their subconscious mind. They're planting seeds of not enough, anxiety and limitation. Person two wakes up, checks their bank account, sees the same $500 and thinks, I'm grateful I have this $500. More is always coming to me. I've always been provided for in the past, and I'll be provided for now. Things always work out. And they feel gratitude, trust, and peace. That feeling is being impressed upon their subconscious mind. They're planting seeds of sufficiency, trust, and provision. Same circumstances, different seeds, and over time, completely different gardens, completely different financial realities. Because person one's subconscious mind is receiving the instruction, create more experiences of not enough, more anxiety, more struggle, and it faithfully obeys. Person two's subconscious mind is receiving the instruction, create more experiences of provision, of ease, of things working out, and it faithfully obeys. This happens in thousands of small moments throughout every single day. Every time money comes into your awareness, you're at a choice point. Every time you spend money, every time you earn money, every time you think about money, you're planting seeds. Most people don't realize they're making these choices. They think their reactions are automatic, inevitable, just the way things are. But they're not. You're choosing consciously or unconsciously what seeds to plant with every thought and every feeling. Let me explain this from multiple angles so you really understand how profound this is. From a scientific perspective, your brain has something called the reticular activating system, the RAS. This is like a filter in your brain that determines what information gets through to your conscious awareness. There's too much information in the world for you to notice everything, so your RAS filters reality based on what you're focused on, what you've told it is important. Have you ever bought a new car, and then suddenly you see that same car everywhere? The car was always there on the roads, but now your RAS is tuned to notice it because it's important to you. The same thing happens with money and opportunities. If your habitual mental focus is on lack, your RAS filters reality to show you more evidence of lack. You literally see different things, notice different opportunities, or fail to notice them based on what your subconscious mind has been programmed to look for. This isn't mystical. This is your brain's actual filtering mechanism. If you're habitually thinking, I can't afford this, there's never enough, money is so hard to come by, your RAS will filter reality to confirm these beliefs. You'll notice every price increase. You'll notice every bill. You'll notice every story of economic struggle. But you'll walk right past opportunities because they don't fit your mental filter. Whereas someone with a mental atmosphere of abundance will notice different things. They'll spot opportunities, see possibilities, notice solutions that someone else would completely miss, even though they're looking at the exact same reality. From a psychological perspective, there's a concept called self-concept, and it's incredibly powerful. Your self-concept is your deep, usually unconscious belief about who you are and what's possible for you. And here's what's fascinating. You will unconsciously behave in ways that confirm your self-concept because your subconscious mind wants consistency. It wants to be right about who you are. If your self-concept around money is, I'm someone who struggles financially, I'm not good with money, I never have enough, your subconscious mind will cause you to behave in ways that confirm this. You'll sabotage opportunities without even realizing it. You'll make poor decisions that seem reasonable at the time. You'll say no to things that might lead to increase because they don't feel like something a person who struggles with money would do. Your behavior will match your self-concept, and your results will match your behavior. But if your self-concept is, I'm someone who is always provided for, money comes to me easily, I'm financially abundant, your subconscious mind will cause you to behave very differently. You'll make different decisions, you'll say yes to different opportunities, you'll take actions that someone with a lack mindset never would because those actions feel natural to your self-concept, and these different behaviors create different results. From a spiritual perspective, and this is where we get into the deeper truth, the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not as a man thinketh in his head, but in his heart. Heartfelt beliefs, deep emotional, feeling-based convictions, these are what create your experience of life. Your intellectual beliefs, what you think you believe, might be positive. You might consciously think, I believe in abundance. But if your heartfelt belief, your emotional conviction, is lack and fear, that's what will manifest. Because the subconscious responds to feeling, not to surface thoughts. When you're impressing the feeling of lack upon your subconscious, over and over, day after day, you're creating your financial reality. Not through some magical process, but through the very practical mechanisms I've described. Your perception changes. Your behavior changes. Your decisions change, and your results change to match what you've been consistently impressing. Let me explain this from multiple angles so you really understand it. From a scientific perspective, your brain has what's called a reticular activating system. This is the part of your brain that filters what you pay attention to. There's too much information in the world for you to notice everything, So your reticular activating system filters reality based on what you're focused on. Have you ever bought a new car, and then suddenly you see that same car everywhere? The car was always there, but now your reticular activating system is tuned to notice it. The same thing happens with money and opportunities. If your habitual mental focus is on lack, your reticular activating system filters reality to show you more lack. You literally see different things than someone whose mental focus is on abundance. You walk past opportunities that someone else would notice. It's not that you're unlucky. It's that your brain is showing you what you've trained it to look for. From a psychological perspective, your self-concept determines your behavior, which determines your results. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with money, you will unconsciously sabotage opportunities. You'll make decisions that confirm your self-concept. You'll say no to things that might lead to increase because they don't feel like something a person who struggles with money would do. Your subconscious mind wants to be right about who you are, so it creates circumstances that match your self-concept. From a spiritual perspective, the Bible says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Your heartfelt belief system creates your experience. Not your surface thoughts, but your deep, habitual, feeling-based beliefs. These beliefs are impressed upon your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind faithfully creates experiences that match them. Now, let me address some common misconceptions because I hear these all the time. People say, "But Dr. Murphy, I think positive thoughts sometimes. Why doesn't it work?" And I tell them, because occasional positive thoughts don't override habitual negative feelings. Your subconscious mind responds to what's habitual, what's repeated with feeling, what's impressed upon it consistently. Thinking a positive thought once in a while feeling worried the rest of the time is like planting one tomato seed in a field of weeds. The weeds will dominate. People also say, "I can't control my thoughts. My mind just goes to worry automatically." And I tell them, you don't have to control every thought. You just need to impress the right feeling consistently through a daily practice. That's why I'm going to give you a specific practice. It's not about thought control. It's about consistent impression of the right feeling. And people say, "This feels like I'm lying to myself. If I'm broke, how can I feel wealthy?" And I tell them, you're not lying to yourself. You're redirecting your mental attention from what you don't want to multiply to what you do want to multiply. Right now, you're very skilled at feeling broke. You practice it all day. I'm asking you to practice something different. To feel, just for a few minutes each day, the reality you want to create. You're not denying current circumstances. You're just not rehearsing them emotionally over and over. Here's the philosophical truth you need to understand. The universe operates by law, not by luck. Gravity doesn't take days off because you don't believe in it. If you drop something, it falls. Every time, no exceptions. The mental law of increase works the same way. It doesn't wait for your permission. It doesn't stop working because you're unaware of it. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, this law is operating in your life. The only question is whether you're using it consciously or unconsciously. Whether you're using it to multiply abundance or to multiply lack. But here's where most people get stuck. They understand this intellectually, but they don't know how to actually impress the right feeling upon the subconscious mind. Let me explain the secret. Your subconscious mind is impressed by feeling, not by words alone. This is crucial. You can say "I am wealthy" 1,000 times, but if the feeling beneath those words is "I'm desperate and afraid," your subconscious accepts the feeling, not the words. The mental law of increase responds to the emotional tone you're broadcasting, not the words you're speaking. Every thought carries an emotional charge. When you look at your bills with worry, you're impressing the feeling of not enough upon your subconscious. When you see someone else's success and feel envious or discouraged, you're impressing the feeling of "I don't have." These feelings, repeated daily, become your mental equivalent of your financial reality, and your subconscious says, "Oh, you want more of this feeling of lack? Here, let me create more circumstances that generate this feeling." To reverse this, you must impress upon your subconscious the feeling of already having increase, abundance, and ease. Now, this is not about denying current circumstances. Let me be very clear about that. This is about choosing which feeling you're going to multiply through your mental attention. Your current reality is always the result of past thinking. You're changing future reality by changing present thinking. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, "But Dr. Murphy, Isn't this just fantasy? Just pretending? Let me be very clear about this. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you feel the reality of increase, your subconscious accepts it as instruction and begins reorganizing your perception, your behavior, and your opportunities to match that feeling. This is why athletes use visualization, not because it's magical, but because the subconscious responds to imagined experience as if it's real. When a basketball player visualizes making free throws, the same neural pathways fire as when they actually make free throws. Their subconscious mind is being trained. The same principle applies to wealth. When you feel the reality of abundance, you're training your subconscious mind to create circumstances that match that feeling. The evidence is all around you in daily life. Have you ever worried about something and then noticed how everything seemed to go wrong that day? That's the mental law of increase multiplying worry. Have you ever felt grateful for something small and then noticed more good things appearing? That's the mental law of increase multiplying appreciation. You've been using this law your whole life. We're just making it conscious now. The subconscious mind learns through repetition with feeling. One moment of feeling wealthy doesn't override years of feeling limited. But consistent daily practice, even just 10 minutes, begins to shift the habitual tone of your subconscious mind. This is why the daily practice I'm going to teach you is so powerful. It's designed specifically to impress the feeling of increase upon your subconscious mind with the right repetition and the right emotional tone. Now, here's something that might surprise you. You're actually already very good at using this law. The problem is you're using it unconsciously and often in reverse. Let me show you what I mean. Most people are incredibly disciplined at practicing mental decrease. They wake up and immediately rehearse their financial problems. They check their bank account and practice the feeling of not enough. They see prices and practice the feeling of I can't afford this. They look at bills and practice anxiety. They see others' success and practice envy or discouragement. Do you see what I'm saying? If you can consistently generate the feeling of lack, you can consistently generate the feeling of abundance. You're not learning a new skill. You're redirecting a skill you already have. You've proven you can impress feelings upon your subconscious mind. You've just been impressing the wrong feelings. Your current financial situation is on autopilot based on your habitual mental patterns. These patterns were probably learned in childhood or through past experiences. Your parents said things like, "Money doesn't grow on trees. We can't afford that. Rich people are greedy. You have to work hard for money." Each of these beliefs carries a feeling that, when repeated over years, becomes your mental equivalent. Your subconscious then faithfully creates circumstances that match this equivalent. Think about two people with identical incomes. One constantly thinks, "This isn't enough, I need more, I'm always behind." They're practicing mental decrease. The other thinks, "I'm grateful for what I have, there's always more coming, I'm provided for." They're practicing mental increase. Same income, but completely different experiences of wealth. Within 5 years, their financial situations will be dramatically different. Why? Because they're impressing different feelings upon their subconscious minds. Here's something I want you to understand. When you see yourself as a victim of circumstances, you impress helplessness upon your subconscious. The subconscious doesn't argue. It says, "You're helpless? Let me show you more evidence of your helplessness." This isn't punishment. It's the law operating perfectly. The law is neutral. It multiplies whatever you're impressing upon it, whether that's empowerment or helplessness, abundance or lack. But here's the liberation. You are not a victim of this law. You are the operator of this law. The moment you understand that your habitual feeling tone is creating your experience, you gain power. You can't control the economy, but you can control your mental atmosphere. You can't control other people, but you can control what you're impressing upon your subconscious mind. Every moment is a choice point. Am I practicing mental increase or mental decrease? When you get paid, do you immediately think about everything you owe? Or do you feel grateful and expect more? When you see a price, do you practice "I can't afford this" or "money comes to me easily"? These small moments are actually huge. They're either depositing increase or decrease into your subconscious bank account. Now let me tell you about the specific mental law at work here, because once you understand it, you'll see exactly why your current practice either creates wealth or destroys it. The mental law of increase can be stated very clearly. Whatever you give sustained mental attention to with feeling will increase in your experience. This is not a sometimes law. This is not a maybe law. This is not a law that works for special people. This is a universal mental law that operates with the same reliability as physical laws. You are always obeying this law. The only question is, what are you choosing to increase? The mechanism works like this. Your mind can only hold one dominant thought feeling at a time. Whatever you're dwelling on mentally is being impressed upon your subconscious. Your subconscious, which controls 90% of your behavior, then works to create more of what you're impressing upon it. This happens whether you're aware of it or not. It's happening right now as I speak to you. The law has two directions. Most people use direction one. They focus on lack. They worry about not having enough. They fear loss. They notice everything wrong financially. Result? Multiplication of these experiences and feelings. But there's direction two. You focus on sufficiency. You feel gratitude for what's present. You expect increase. You notice opportunities. Result? Multiplication of these experiences and feelings. Same law, two directions, completely opposite results. Here's why most financial advice fails. Most advice focuses on the outer world. Budget better, invest smarter, work harder. These are important, but they're secondary. If your mental equivalent is poverty, no amount of external manipulation will create lasting wealth. Many lottery winners lose everything because their mental equivalent hasn't changed. Many people who grow up poor stay poor even with opportunities because their mental equivalent hasn't changed. The mental equivalent must change first. Then the outer circumstances rearrange themselves naturally. There's a scientific basis for this. Your beliefs literally filter what you perceive as possible. Your expectations shape your behavior in ways you're not consciously aware of. Your habitual thought patterns create neural pathways that become automatic. When you consistently practice the feeling of increase, you're literally rewiring your brain to perceive opportunities, make different choices, and take different actions. This is neuroscience, not wishful thinking. And there's a spiritual truth here too. The infinite intelligence that created the universe is responsive to your mental states. When you impress upon your subconscious mind the feeling of abundance, you're aligning with the infinite supply. The universe is infinitely abundant. Limitation exists only in individual consciousness. When you practice the mental law of increase correctly, you're not trying to get more of a limited supply, you're opening yourself to the unlimited flow that already exists. Let me answer some common questions. People ask, does this mean I never worry about money again? No. It means when worry comes, you don't practice it repeatedly. You acknowledge it, then redirect to the feeling of increase. People ask, what if my circumstances are really bad? Your circumstances are the result of past mental habits. You're changing future circumstances by changing present mental habits. People ask, how long does this take? Some people see changes in days, others in weeks or months. The law works at its own pace, but it works with mathematical precision. I want to be very clear with you. This law will work. It doesn't matter if you believe me or not. It doesn't matter if you're skeptical. The only thing that matters is whether you consistently practice impressing the feeling of increase upon your subconscious mind. If you do this faithfully, changes must come. Not because I say so, but because you're working with a universal law. Now, here's where it gets really practical. Let me show you exactly what this looks like in daily life. The first thoughts and feelings of your day set the tone for your subconscious mind. Most people wake up and immediately check their phone, see something stressful, and practice mental decrease before they even get out of bed. A conscious creator wakes up and immediately impresses the feeling of increase before circumstances can influence them. This isn't about ignoring reality. It's about choosing which aspect of reality you're going to multiply. Every time money comes into your awareness, seeing it, spending it, earning it, thinking about it, you're at a choice point. The old habit is to see bills, feel stress, think this is so expensive, practice lack. The new habit is to see bills, feel grateful you have services, think money flows to me easily, practice increase. This seems small, but you have dozens of these moments every single day. Each one is either a deposit or withdrawal from your subconscious abundance account. Here's something powerful. Gratitude is the fastest way to impress increase upon your subconscious. When you're genuinely grateful for what you have, you're mentally saying, "This is good, give me more experiences like this." Your subconscious responds, "You want more good experiences? Done." When you're ungrateful or focused on what's missing, you're saying, "This isn't good, give me more experiences like this." Your subconscious responds, "You want more experiences of not good? Done." The subconscious doesn't judge, it just multiplies. Be careful of the comparison trap. When you compare yourself to others from lack, you practice decrease. When you think, "They have so much more than me," the impression is, "I don't have enough." When you think, "I'll never have what they have," the impression is limitation. When you think, "Why do they get lucky and I don't?" the impression is victim mentality. Each of these impresses poverty consciousness upon your subconscious mind. But when you see others' success and feel inspired or grateful that abundance exists, you practice increase. When you think, "Their success shows me what's possible," the impression is possibility. When you think, "The universe is abundant enough for everyone," the impression is sufficiency. When you think, "If they can do it, channels of abundance are open," the impression is opportunity. These impressions change everything. The language you use matters because words are vehicles for feeling. When you say, "I can't afford this," you impress limitation. When you say, "I'm choosing to spend my money differently," you impress choice and abundance. When you say, "Money is so tight," you impress constriction. When you say, "Money flows to me easily," you impress ease and supply. When you say, "I never have enough," you impress perpetual lack. When you say, "There's always more than enough for my needs," you impress sufficiency. Most people end their day reviewing everything that went wrong, every financial worry. This impresses anxiety and lack upon the subconscious mind right before sleep. And sleep is when your subconscious mind is most active and impressionable. A conscious creator reviews the day's abundance. Every moment money came, every need met, every unexpected good thing. This impresses increase and provision upon the subconscious, which then works all night to create more of the same. Here's what happens when you consistently practice mental increase. You start noticing opportunities you walked past before. Ideas come to you. Ways to earn more, save more, invest better. The right people appear with the right information. Circumstances arrange themselves in your favor. This isn't magic. It's your subconscious mind doing exactly what you've trained it to do. It's showing you what you've programmed it to look for. Your financial decisions shift too. When your mental equivalent is poverty, you make decisions from fear. You hold on too tight, miss opportunities, sabotage yourself unconsciously. When your mental equivalent is abundance, you make decisions from wisdom. You know when to spend, when to save, when to invest. Not from fear, but from inner knowing. This is your subconscious mind now programmed for increase, guiding your decisions. Now, I want to address something very important, because this is where many people get stuck. Some people hear this teaching and think I'm telling them to deny reality or pretend problems don't exist. Let me be absolutely clear. I am not teaching denial. I am teaching you where to place your mental attention and emotional energy. Yes, you acknowledge your current circumstances. Yes, you pay your bills and handle responsibilities. Yes, you deal with challenges that arise. But, and this is crucial, you don't rehearse these challenges emotionally over and over. You don't give them sustained mental attention with negative feeling. You handle them practically, then redirect your attention to what you want to increase. There's a difference between acknowledgement and rehearsal. Acknowledgement is, "I have bills to pay this month, let me handle them wisely." Single attention, practical action, move on. Rehearsal is thinking about bills repeatedly, feeling anxiety each time, worrying about them for hours or days, imagining worst-case scenarios. This impresses lack upon the subconscious mind. See the difference? You can handle the same situation with completely different mental practices. Most people think worry is responsible, that it shows you care. But worry is simply negative goal setting. When you worry about not having enough money, you're vividly imagining and feeling the experience of not having enough. Your subconscious mind receives this as an instruction. Create more of this experience. Worry doesn't protect you. It programs your subconscious for the very thing you fear. Instead of worry, you can have wise concern that leads to practical action. I want to ensure I have enough money. This leads to making a plan, taking action, then trust. After the action, redirect mental attention to the feeling of provision and increase. This is responsible, practical, and it programs your subconscious for abundance instead of lack. Here's why feelings matter more than facts. Your current facts are the result of past feelings impressed upon your subconscious. If you only respond to current facts with matching feelings, you keep the cycle going. Current lack leads to feeling lack, which impresses lack on subconscious, which creates more lack, which leads to current lack. To break the cycle, you must impress new feelings that don't match current facts, current lack, but you feel increase. Impress increase on subconscious, create more abundance, future increase. There's always a time delay between impression and expression. What you're experiencing today is the result of what you impressed on your subconscious weeks or months ago. What you're impressing today will manifest in your experience weeks or months from now. This is why consistency matters so much. You're building tomorrow's reality with today's mental habits. Faith is not believing something impossible will happen magically. Faith is trusting the law while the evidence is still being formed. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You trust the law of growth and water it consistently. The mental law of increase works the same way. Trust the law, practice consistently, allow time for manifestation. I can't tell you exactly when or how your financial increase will manifest. What I can tell you is this. If you consistently impress the feeling of increase upon your subconscious mind, changes must occur. You might get a raise, discover a new income source, receive unexpected money, find better deals, have expenses decrease. The law will fulfill itself through whatever channel is most natural for your life. Your job is not to figure out how. Your job is T. Your financial decisions shift too. When your mental equivalent is poverty, you make decisions from fear. You hold on too tight, miss opportunities, sabotage yourself unconsciously. When your mental equivalent is abundance, you make decisions from wisdom. You know when to spend, when to save, when to invest. Not from fear, but from inner knowing. This is your subconscious mind, now programmed for increase, guiding your decisions. Now I want to address something very important because this is where many people get stuck. Some people hear this teaching and think I'm telling them to deny reality or pretend problems don't exist. Let me be absolutely clear. I am not teaching denial. I am not teaching you to ignore bills or avoid responsibility or pretend you have money you don't have. I am teaching you where to place your mental attention and emotional energy. There's a huge difference. Yes, you acknowledge your current circumstances. Yes, you look at your bank account. Yes, you pay your bills on time. Yes, you handle your responsibilities. Yes, you deal with challenges that arise. But, and this is crucial, you don't rehearse these challenges emotionally over and over. You don't give them sustained mental attention with negative feeling. You don't make them the dominant focus of your mental and emotional energy. You handle them practically and responsibly, then redirect your attention to what you want to increase. Let me explain the difference between acknowledgement and rehearsal because this is where people get confused. Acknowledgement is this. I have bills to pay this month totaling $2,000. I need to budget carefully and make sure they get paid. Let me make a plan. Then you make the plan, you take the practical action, and you move on mentally. Single attention, practical response, done. That's acknowledgement. That's responsible. That's dealing with reality. Rehearsal is very different. Rehearsal is thinking about those bills repeatedly throughout the day, feeling anxiety each time you think about them, worrying about them when you wake up in the night, imagining worst-case scenarios of what happens if you can't pay them, talking about them to everyone you meet, feeling the weight of them constantly, letting them dominate your emotional state for days or weeks. This is rehearsal. This is giving sustained mental attention with negative feeling. This impresses lack and anxiety upon the subconscious mind. See the difference? You can handle the exact same situation with completely different mental practices. The outcome in terms of practical action might be identical. You pay the bills either way, but the mental and emotional practice is completely different. And that mental and emotional practice is what impresses your subconscious and creates your future financial reality. Most people think worry is responsible. They think it shows you're taking things seriously. They think it means you care. But worry is simply negative goal setting. When you worry about not having enough money, you're vividly imagining the experience of not having enough. You're feeling the emotions of lack and fear. You're rehearsing mentally and emotionally the very thing you don't want, and your subconscious mind, which doesn't judge or question, receives this as an instruction. It says, oh, you're giving sustained attention with strong feeling to not having enough? You must want more of that experience. Let me create more circumstances that match that feeling. Worry doesn't protect you. Worry doesn't prevent bad things from happening. Worry doesn't make you more prepared or more responsible. Worry simply programs your subconscious mind for the very thing you fear. It's the opposite of helpful. It's actually destructive to your financial well-being. And yet most people worry constantly because they think they should, because they think it's the responsible thing to do. The responsible alternative to worry is wise concern combined with practical action. Wise concern says, I want to ensure I have enough money for my needs and responsibilities. What actions can I take? Then you take those actions. You budget if needed. You look for additional income if needed. You cut expenses if needed. You save if you can. You do whatever practical steps make sense. But after you've taken the action, after you've done what you can do, you redirect your mental attention to the feeling of provision and increase. You trust. You let go of the worry because the worry serves no practical purpose. It only harms you. This is responsible. This is practical. And it programs your subconscious mind for abundance instead of lack. You're taking action in the outer world, and you're taking action in the inner world. Both matter. Most people only focus on outer action, and they wonder why their efforts don't produce the results they want. It's because the inner work, the mental and emotional work, is actually more important than the outer work. Here's a truth that might be hard to hear. Your current facts, your current circumstances are the result of your past mental and emotional habits. The thoughts and feelings you've been having consistently for months or years have created the financial situation you're in right now. Not completely, of course. External factors play a role, but your internal mental atmosphere is the primary creative force. So if you only respond to your current facts with feelings that match those facts, you keep the cycle going. Current lack leads to feelings of lack, which impress lack on your subconscious, which creates more lack, which leads to more feelings of lack. Round and round. The cycle never breaks. You stay stuck. To break the cycle, you must impress new feelings that don't match your current facts. This feels strange at first. It feels like you're lying or pretending or being unrealistic. But you're not. You're planting new seeds. You're working with the law of time delay. Current circumstances are the harvest of old seeds. You're planting new seeds now that will produce a different harvest later. Current lack, but you choose to feel increase. You impress increase on your subconscious. Your subconscious begins creating more abundance. Future increase manifests. The cycle changes direction. This is how you transform your financial reality. Not by denying where you are, but by refusing to perpetuate where you are through continued mental and emotional rehearsal of lack. There's always a time delay between impression and expression, between cause and effect, between planting and harvest. What you're experiencing today is the result of what you impressed on your subconscious weeks or months or even years ago. The thoughts and feelings that have been habitual for you have created today's reality. And what you're impressing on your subconscious today, right now, through your daily practice and through your moment-to-moment mental habits, is creating your future reality. Tomorrow's harvest depends on today's seeds. This is why consistency matters so much. One day of good mental practice doesn't override years of negative mental habits. Just like one day of eating well doesn't make you healthy if you eat poorly the rest of the time. You're building tomorrow's reality with today's mental habits. Every day matters. Every practice session matters. Every moment you choose increase over decrease matters. It all adds up. It all counts. This is also why faith is so important. Faith is not believing that something impossible will happen by magic. Faith is not blind optimism or wishful thinking. Faith is trusting the law while the evidence is still being formed. It's continuing to practice even when you don't see results yet. It's planting seeds and trusting they will grow even though you can't see them growing. When you plant a seed in your garden, you don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You know that would disturb the growth process and might kill the seed. You trust the seed. You trust the soil, you trust the law of growth, you water it consistently, you give it time, you let nature do its work, and in due time a sprout appears, then a plant, then flowers, or fruit. The law works. It always works, but it works in its own time. The mental law of increase is the same. You plant the seed through your daily practice. You water it by maintaining the right mental atmosphere throughout your day. You protect it by not digging it up with doubt and worry. You give it time to grow. You trust the law. And in due time, sometimes days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, the outer manifestation appears. The increase shows up in your experience. The law fulfills itself. It always does, but it requires your faith, your persistence, your consistent practice. I can't tell you exactly when or how your financial increase will manifest. I can't give you a timeline or a specific method. What I can tell you is this, and I say it with complete confidence based on decades of observation and teaching. If you consistently impress the feeling of increase upon your subconscious mind through daily practice, if you maintain a mental atmosphere of abundance instead of lack, if you give this practice time to work, changes must occur. Not might occur, not could occur, must occur. Because you're working with a universal law that never fails. The increase might come as a raise at your current job. It might come as a new job opportunity with better pay. It might come as a side income that develops naturally. It might come as unexpected money from a source you never anticipated. It might come as expenses decreasing so your current income goes further. It might come as people offering to help you financially. It might come as finding better deals on things you need to buy. The law will fulfill itself through whatever channel is most natural and appropriate for your life. Your job is not to figure out how. That's not your responsibility. Your job is not to make it happen through force or manipulation. Your job is simply to impress the feeling of increase consistently upon your subconscious mind and then to remain open and receptive to how the law manifests. You do your inner work. You let the law do its outer work. You plant and water the seeds. You let nature produce the harvest. And please, be compassionate with yourself through this process. You've been practicing mental decrease for a long time, maybe your whole life. Maybe you learned it from your parents who learned it from their parents. Maybe you developed these habits through difficult experiences that made you feel like you had to protect yourself through worry. These patterns are deeply ingrained. They don't change overnight. They don't reverse in a week. Be patient with yourself as you learn this new mental practice. Every time you catch yourself practicing lack and you redirect to increase, that's a victory. Celebrate it. Every time you choose to feel grateful instead of resentful, you're changing your destiny. Every time you complete your daily practice, even when you don't feel like it, you're building new neural pathways, new mental habits, new patterns that will serve you for the rest of your life. This is the most important work you can do. More important than any outer work. More important than any job or business strategy or investment plan. Because this inner work is what makes all the outer work effective. This inner work is what allows opportunities to appear, ideas to come, decisions to be wise, actions to be productive. This is the foundation. Build this foundation strong through consistent daily practice, and everything else will build upon it naturally and powerfully. Now, let me give you the complete daily practice with all the details. This is what you've been waiting for. Everything comes down to this practice. Practice twice daily, morning and evening. Each session is 5 to 10 minutes. Find a quiet space, sit or lie comfortably, close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths. Step 1 is relaxation, about 2 minutes. Relax every muscle from toes to head. Feel each part letting go. Think, I am relaxed, peaceful, receptive to infinite abundance. Reach a drowsy, peaceful state, the doorway to your subconscious. Step 2 is gratitude, about 2 minutes. Bring to mind 3 things you're genuinely grateful for financially. Small things count. Feel real appreciation filling your chest. This establishes positive emotional tone and tells your subconscious, these good things are present, give me more like this. Step 3 is declaration, about 1 minute. With gratitude still present, speak these words silently. The mental law of increase is operating in my life right now. Everything I give attention to with gratitude multiplies in my experience. Infinite intelligence is the source of my supply, and this source is unlimited. I am now impressing increase, abundance, and expansion upon my subconscious mind. Say them slowly, feeling each truth sink in. Step 4 is vivid imagining, 3 to 5 minutes, the most important part. Imagine a scene implying your financial increase has already happened, already done, already real. Choose something specific. Checking your bank account and seeing abundance, paying bills with complete ease, making a purchase without anxiety. See it vividly. What do you see? What do you hear? But most important, feel it. Feel the relief, ease, joy, satisfaction. Feel what it's like to already have financial increase. Feel provided for, secure, abundant. Stay with this feeling, let it fill your body. If your mind wanders, bring it back. The feeling is the seed. Don't analyze, don't question, just feel it as already done. Step 5 is acceptance and release. About 1 minute, take a deep breath. Say, it is done. This impression is now planted in my subconscious mind. My subconscious accepts this and is working to manifest it. I release this to infinite intelligence, trusting completely. Feel completion, then let it go. Trust the law like you trust a seed to grow. Open your eyes and return to your day knowing the work is done. Important guidelines. Consistency is everything. Daily practice creates the new mental habit. Feeling is the secret. You must generate genuine feeling, not just go through motions. Don't test or question immediately after. You're building a new mental equivalent that takes time to externalize. Trust the process. Throughout your day, when money comes to mind, recall the feeling from your practice. This reinforces the impression. Common challenges and solutions. If you can't feel anything, keep practicing. Feeling develops with repetition. Start with gratitude until real feeling comes. If your mind wanders, that's normal. Gently bring it back. It gets easier. If you feel silly, remember your subconscious doesn't judge. It only responds to feeling. Keep going. You'll know it's working when you notice small changes. Opportunities appear. Ideas come. Anxiety decreases. Trust the process. The evening variation adds one element. After the vivid imagining, review your day from the lens of increase. Even challenges are opportunities to practice mental increase. End the day impressing abundance, not worry. Your subconscious works during sleep, making this powerfully effective. Beyond the core practice, use supplemental practices. Throughout your day, keep mental accounting of abundance, not lack. Notice every bit of money received, every need met, every unexpected gift. Say to yourself, money came to me today in this way, and this way, and this way. By day's end, you've practiced noticing increase dozens of times. What you notice multiplies. Another powerful practice. Every time you spend money, bless it. Say silently, I bless this money and it multiplies as it circulates. Or as I give, I receive multiplied. This changes the emotional tone of spending from loss to circulation and increase, from anxiety to trust and abundance. Your subconscious receives the impression that money flows easily, circulates freely, comes back multiplied. Practice this with every transaction, paying bills, buying groceries, any spending. Bless it and feel increase. Now, my dear friend, we've covered so much tonight. Let me leave you with the essence of everything we've discussed. You've learned tonight that there is a mental law of increase operating in your life every single moment. This law doesn't wait for permission, doesn't take days off, and works with absolute precision. Whatever you habitually give mental attention to with feeling will multiply in your experience. Most people unknowingly use this law in reverse. They practice lack, worry, limitation, and wonder why these multiply in their lives. But now you know better. You've learned your subconscious mind is like fertile soil. It grows whatever seed you plant with complete faithfulness. The seed is your habitual feeling tone. You've been given the one daily practice that plants the right seed. Relaxation, gratitude, declaration, vivid imagining with feeling, acceptance, 10 minutes twice daily. This is not a huge sacrifice. This is a tiny investment in completely transforming your financial destiny. You are not a victim of circumstances. You're not limited by your past, your education, your background, or the economy. You're only limited by the mental equivalent you hold in your subconscious mind. And that mental equivalent can be changed. It can be changed starting tonight, starting right now with one simple decision. I will practice mental increase instead of mental decrease. Let me give you an affirmation that captures everything we've discussed. Feel this deeply. Let it sink into your consciousness. I am a channel of infinite abundance. The mental law of increase is now operating perfectly in my life. Every day, in every way, my wealth is multiplying. Money flows to me easily and naturally from expected and unexpected sources. I am grateful for everything I have, and I know there is always more than enough. My subconscious mind is now impressed with abundance, increase, and expansion, and it is faithfully creating my financial future according to this new mental equivalent. It is done, and so it is. This teaching doesn't end here tonight. This is the beginning of your new relationship with wealth. I want you to practice what I've taught you, and I want to hear from you. Did opportunities appear? Did your anxiety decrease? Did unexpected money come? Did you start seeing possibilities you never noticed before? If this teaching resonated with you, if you feel something shifting inside, I ask you to do 3 simple things. First, subscribe to this channel. I'm here to continue teaching you these mental and spiritual laws that can transform every area of your life. There is so much more wisdom to share with you. More teachings on the subconscious mind, on prayer, on manifestation, on healing, on living the life you were meant to live. Subscribe so you don't miss any of these teachings. Second, give this video a like if it helped you tonight. This simple action, this small gesture, helps YouTube share this teaching with others who need to hear it. Others who are struggling with money and don't yet know about the mental law of increase. Others who are working hard but not seeing results. Others who feel trapped and don't know there's a way out. Your like helps this message reach them. It helps the algorithm understand that this content is valuable and should be shown to more people. So if this teaching has helped you, please take a moment to click that like button. Third, and this is most important to me personally, leave a comment below. Tell me what was your biggest insight from tonight's teaching, what really hit home for you, what clicked in your understanding. Was it the stories about the 2 brothers? Was it understanding that you're already an expert at using this law, just in the wrong direction? Was it realizing that worry is negative goal setting? Was it understanding the difference between acknowledgement and rehearsal? Share with me what resonated most deeply. And tell me, what practice are you going to start implementing? Are you committed to the twice daily practice? Are you going to start blessing your money as it leaves your hands? Are you going to keep mental accounting of abundance instead of lack? Let me know what you're taking away from this teaching and putting into practice in your life. And if you've already experienced the law of increase working in your life, even before you knew to call it by this name, share your story. Tell us about a time when you shifted your mental atmosphere and watched your circumstances change. Tell us about a time when you practiced gratitude and noticed more good coming. Tell us about a time when you expected increase and it showed up. Your story, your experience, might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to believe this is possible for them, to believe they can do it too, to take that first step toward their own transformation. I read every comment personally. I'm genuinely interested in your journey, in your transformation, in how these principles work in your life. This isn't just a one-way teaching. This is a conversation, a community of people learning to work with mental and spiritual laws to create better lives. Your participation matters, your voice matters, your experience matters. Remember, my dear friend, and I want you to really hear this, really let it sink deep into your consciousness. Abundance is not something you attract from outside yourself. You're not trying to pull money toward you through some mysterious force. Abundance is something you tune into by changing your mental atmosphere. It's like a radio frequency. The music is already playing, the broadcast is already happening, but you have to tune your radio to the right station to hear it. The universe is already abundant. Infinite intelligence has already provided everything. The supply is unlimited, infinite, always flowing. But you have to tune your consciousness to that frequency of abundance. You do that by changing your habitual mental atmosphere from lack to increase, from limitation to expansion, from fear to trust. You're not trying to get more. You're opening yourself to receive what is already flowing, what has always been available, what is your divine birthright. The universe wants you to prosper. God wants you to thrive. Infinite intelligence has no desire for any of its creation to struggle or suffer lack. Lack is not God's will for you. Poverty is not a virtue. Struggle is not noble. These are simply the results of not understanding and not applying mental and spiritual laws. Once you understand the law, once you apply it consistently, prosperity is natural. Abundance is normal. Increase is inevitable. The only shortage that exists is shortage in individual consciousness. There is no shortage in the divine mind, in infinite intelligence, in the universe itself. The shortage is in how we think, what we believe, what we habitually feel. And that shortage in consciousness creates shortage in circumstances. But when you expand your consciousness, when you tune it to abundance, your circumstances must expand to match. The inner creates the outer. Always. Without exception. Tonight, you've taken the first step toward expanding your consciousness to match the infinite abundance that surrounds you. You've learned that a mental law of increase is operating in your life. You've learned how it works. You've learned that you've been using it unconsciously, often in reverse. You've learned that you can start using it consciously, deliberately, in the direction of increase instead of decrease. And you've been given the specific daily practice that will impress the right mental equivalent upon your subconscious mind. This is not theory. This is not philosophy. This is practical, applicable, life-changing truth. But knowledge alone doesn't change anything. You must apply what you've learned. You must practice daily. You must be consistent. You must give it time to work. The seed must be planted, watered, protected, and given time to grow. If you do this, if you commit to this practice, and follow through with consistency, your financial life will transform. Not might transform, not could transform, will transform, because you'll be working with a universal law that never fails. Practice what you've learned. Be patient with yourself as you build these new mental habits. Don't give up if you don't see immediate results. Remember the time delay between impression and expression. Trust the law. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Trust that you have within you, right now, everything you need to create financial abundance. The power is in your subconscious mind. The law is always working. You just need to work with it instead of against it. And watch. Watch as your financial world begins to transform in ways you cannot yet imagine. Watch as opportunities appear. Watch as ideas come. Watch as circumstances arrange themselves in your favor. Watch as anxiety decreases and confidence increases. Watch as the people, resources, and conditions you need show up at exactly the right time. Watch as what once seemed impossible becomes not only possible but actual, manifest, real in your experience. I believe in you. I've seen this law work in countless lives, including my own. I've seen people transform from poverty to prosperity, from struggle to ease, from limitation to abundance. Not through magic, not through luck, but through understanding and applying the mental law of increase. If it worked for them, it will work for you. If they could do it, you can do it. The law is impartial. It works for everyone who works with it. Infinite intelligence believes in you. The creative power that formed galaxies and atoms, that makes your heart beat and flowers bloom, that intelligence is within you, responsive to you, ready to manifest through you. You are a channel for infinite abundance. You are an expression of divine prosperity. You are meant to thrive, to flourish, to multiply good in your experience and in the world. Now, it's time for you to believe in yourself. It's time to believe in the mental law of increase, working through you. It's time to commit to the practice, to do the inner work, to plant the right seeds in the garden of your subconscious mind. It's time to stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being a creator of your reality. It's time to multiply wealth instead of multiplying poverty. You have everything you need, you know what to do. The question now is, will you do it? Will you commit to the practice? Will you stay consistent even when results aren't immediate? Will you trust the law when circumstances try to discourage you? Will you plant and water the seeds even before you see the harvest? I hope you will. I believe you will. Because something brought you to this teaching tonight. Some part of you, some deeper wisdom within you, knew you needed to hear this message. Honor that wisdom, trust that inner knowing, and take action on what you've learned. Thank you for spending this time with me tonight. Thank you for being open to these teachings. Thank you for being willing to learn, to grow, to change. It's been my privilege and joy to share this wisdom with you. I hope it serves you well. I hope it transforms your financial life. I hope it brings you the abundance, prosperity, and peace you deserve. Until we meet again, may wealth multiply in your experience. May abundance flow to you easily and naturally. May prosperity be your normal state. May every seed you plant in the garden of your subconscious mind grow into a beautiful harvest. May the mental law of increase work powerfully in your favor from this day forward. May you always remember that you are a beloved child of the infinite, deserving of all good things, capable of creating a life of abundance and joy. God bless you, my friend. God bless you richly and abundantly. Go now and multiply your wealth through the mental law of increase. The power is within you. The law is waiting for you. Your abundant future is calling you. Answer that call, practice what you've learned, and watch miracles unfold in your financial life. Thank you and good night. Remember, my dear friend, abundance is not something you attract. It's something you tune into by changing your mental atmosphere. You're not trying to get more. You're opening yourself to receive what is already flowing. The universe is infinitely abundant. There is no shortage in the divine mind. The only shortage is in individual consciousness. And tonight, you've taken the first step toward expanding your consciousness to match the infinite abundance that surrounds you. Practice what you've learned. Be patient with yourself. Trust the law. And watch as your financial world begins to transform in ways you cannot yet imagine. I believe in you. Infinite intelligence believes in you. Now, it's time for you to believe in yourself and in the mental law of increase working through you. Thank you for spending this time with me tonight. Until we meet again, may wealth, abundance, and prosperity multiply in your experience. God bless you.